everyone, and welcome back. You know that feeling you get when something just seems off, like with the trees in your yard?
Uh-huh.
Today we're going to deep dive into those sometimes subtle signs that a tree might need to go, for safety's sake.
Yeah.
We found this episode of Pasted Text all about it.
Okay.
And honestly, some of these warning signs are things I never even considered before.
Well, it is fascinating. Trees can give us these little clues like they're trying to communicate.
Like they're sending us a message.
Yeah, but we have to know what to look for.
Right. So let's crack the code. The Pasted Text folks, they start with the obvious dead branches. But is it always a big deal if a tree's got a few dead branches?
Well, a couple dead branches, especially lower down, it might not be a huge issue.
Right.
But you see a lot of dead branches, especially up high in the ground.
Yeah.
That's often a sign the tree is struggling.
Ah, so it's kind of like the canary in the coal mine. A few twigs, no biggie. But if half the branches look like they're ready to snap, that's a red flag.
Exactly. And, that ties into another warning sign they mentioned, fungal growth.
Okay.
If you see mushrooms or conchs sprouting around the base of the tree or on the trunk.
Oh, so it's not just a creepy lawn ornament. It's a clue.
Right. That's often a sign of decay inside the tree.
So lots of dead branches and funky fungi. Definitely time to call a pro.
Absolutely.
Okay.
A certified arborist can really assess the situation and let you know if the tree is structurally compromised.
Yeah.
Sometimes removing the tree is really the safest option, especially if it's near your house or where people are walking.
That makes sense. I definitely don't want a tree falling on my car. Or worse, a person. Speaking of things looking a little off, Pasted Text also talked about leaning trees. But some trees naturally lean a bit, right?
Right.
So how do you know when it's a real problem?
A slight lean might just be the tree's natural growth pattern.
Right.
But a sudden change in a tree's lean, a dramatic change,
Yeah.
that's when you need to pay attention.
Got it. So if it looks like it's about to do a headstand, that's bad news. But what causes that kind of sudden leaning?
Often it's root damage.
Okay.
This could be from construction near the tree or soil compaction, even diseases that attack the roots.
Ah, so it really matters what's going on beneath the surface.
It does, yeah. Without a strong, healthy root system, the tree can become unstable, vulnerable to falling.
So it's not just about what you see above ground. Makes you appreciate how complex these trees really are.
It does, yeah.
The Pasted Text episode, they also highlighted damage to the trunk itself. Talking deep cracks, cavities, missing bark, things that look like the tree's been through a war.
Right, yeah, like battle scars. And those definitely weaken the structure of the tree.
The trunk is like its backbone.
Exactly. And any significant damage compromises its integrity. And then it's more likely to break or fall, especially during storms.
So if I see a big crack running up the trunk, that's not something to just ignore.
Definitely not. It's like seeing cracks in the foundation of your house. You'd want to get that checked out.
Yeah.
Right. Better safe than sorry. So we've covered dead branches, the fungal growth, leaning, and trunk damage. What's next on the tree trouble checklist?
Well, this one is a little less obvious, the roots themselves.
Oh, right, because we can't always see what's happening underground.
Yeah, but there are signs to watch out for.
So if I see roots, like popping up out of the ground trying to escape, is that a bad sign?
It depends. Some trees have shallow root systems naturally, but if you see roots that are soft, mushy, smelling rotten,
Ooh, yuck.
that's not good. Or a lot of new root growth above ground, especially if the soil's all messed up around the tree.
Okay.
That could be a sign of root problems.
So it's not just about the roots themselves, it's about the whole underground picture.
Yeah, got it. Keep an eye out for those mushrooms or fungi around the base, too. That often means there's root decay or fungal infections.
So much drama happening beneath our feet.
Right.
I'm starting to think I need to spend less time looking at my phone and more time observing the subtle signs around me. This is fascinating stuff.
It really is. And we haven't even gotten to the last couple warning signs.
We haven't.
All right, I'm all ears. What else should I be looking for?
Well, this next one is less about the tree's health and more about its location.
Location, location, location. Just like in real estate.
Exactly.
A perfectly good tree can be a problem if it's in the wrong spot.
That's true. The Pasted Text episode really emphasized this, especially for large trees. Branches that touch or come close to structures, especially your home, can cause all sorts of problems. Roof damage, gutter issues, and even foundation problems if the roots start encroaching on your house.
Oh, yeah. And we can't forget about those power lines. I've seen some scary situations where branches and power lines get a little too friendly.
That's a recipe for disaster
Oh,
for your property and the power grid. So if you have trees near power lines, it's really crucial to contact your utility company.
okay.
They have professionals who can safely trim or remove trees.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to be responsible for a neighborhood blackout. So you mentioned there was one more warning sign.
Yes, and this one might surprise you. A tree that's simply outgrowing its space.
Hmm. Outgrowing its space. What does that
Mhm.
mean exactly?
So think about a tree that was planted too close to your house, or maybe in a spot that's too small for its mature size.
Okay.
As it grows, its branches might start crowding your roof or windows, or the roots might start to interfere with underground utilities.
Or even your foundation, like you were saying earlier.
Exactly.
Ah, so it's not necessarily that the tree is unhealthy. It's just that it's become a bit of a bully in the yard. Like that friend who was cute and cuddly as a puppy, but now they're a giant Great Dane knocking over your furniture.
Uh-huh. That's a great analogy. And sometimes, even if you love that tree, you gotta admit, it's just not the right fit anymore.
Yeah.
Removal might be the best option for the tree and for the safety of your property.
So it's kind of like saying, hey, we love you, but you got to move out.
Right.
But seriously, it's about making responsible choices for the health of our homes and our trees.
Exactly. Sometimes letting go is the best way to show you care.
All right, we've covered the 7 warning signs, from the obvious to the more subtle. It's amazing how much we can learn by paying attention to the trees around us.
It is. And the great thing is, you don't have to be a tree expert to recognize these signs.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of knowledge and observation can go a long way in keeping your property and yourself safe.
Absolutely. So now that we've learned all about the warning signs, what's the next step? What do we actually do if we spot these red flags in our own yards?
Well, that's where things get a little more hands-on. That's where we move from observation to action.
Okay.
The first and most important step, if you spot any of these warning signs.
Let me guess, call an arborist.
You got it.
Okay.
Especially if the tree's large, near your house, or, near power lines.
Makes sense. I don't want to be dangling from a branch with a chainsaw.
Right. Better to leave it to the pros.
But seriously, why is calling a pro so important in these situations?
Well, arborists are trained to assess the tree's health. They can spot potential hazards and recommend the best way to deal with them.
Right. They can safely remove trees, trim branches, all that. And they can give you advice on how to improve the health of your trees overall.
So they're like tree doctors, but with chainsaws.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm sold. But I'm sure some folks out there, they like to DIY,
Sure.
especially for smaller jobs. Any advice from Pasted Text for those DIYers?
Pasted Text had a whole section on tree removal safety tips.
Okay.
And the one thing they stressed over and over was, know your limits.
That makes sense.
If you're just pruning a few small branches that are easy to reach, that's one thing.
Right.
But if you're dealing with large branches, especially high up in the tree, or the tree's large and unstable,
Yeah.
don't even think about tackling it yourself.
Yeah, safety first for sure.
Hmm.
Even for those smaller tasks, what kind of precautions should people take?
Always wear protective gear, like a helmet, gloves, and eye protection.
Okay.
And make sure you're using the right tools. Trying to hack away at a thick branch with, flimsy pruners.
Yeah.
It's dangerous and inefficient, yeah. One thing I found helpful was their suggestion to check out YouTube. Search for things like signs your tree needs to be removed or how to assess a dangerous tree.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I thought so too.
YouTube can be a really good resource for learning about tree care.
Right.
Just remember, take it all with a grain of salt and consult a pro if you have any doubts.
Absolutely. So we've learned about the warning signs, the importance of calling in a pro when needed, and we can even do some of our own research. What else should we keep in mind as we embark on our tree care journey?
I think the most important thing to remember is that trees are living things. They deserve our respect and care.
Right.
By learning their language, understanding their needs, and taking action when necessary, we can create a harmonious and safe environment for both ourselves and the trees.
Beautifully said. And I think that's the perfect note to end on. Now, go take a look at those trees with a fresh perspective. And if you're still unsure about anything, don't hesitate to call an arborist. They're the true tree whisperers, and they can give you the peace of mind you deserve. Until next time, happy tree gazing.
And taking action when necessary, we can create this great environment for us and the trees we live with.
I love that, creating that harmony, It's
Yeah.
not just about us, it's about the trees too.
Right. It made me think about something Pasted Text mentioned, those YouTube searches.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like DIY tree removal safety tips
Yeah,
and how to assess a dangerous tree.
exactly. I thought that was a great resource for listeners.
Me too.
Yeah.
Encourages people to learn more, be more aware.
Even if someone's not going to do any tree work themselves,
Yeah.
watching those videos,
Yeah,
it can really give them a better understanding of what goes into it.
totally. It's like knowledge is power, right?
Right.
So we've got the warning signs down, we know when to call in the experts, and we've even got some DIY research tips. What's the big takeaway for you from all of this?
I think the main thing is to remember that trees are more than just decorations. They're living, breathing beings,
Yeah.
a vital part of our ecosystem.
And we have a responsibility to be mindful of their health and well-being.
Exactly. And it starts with paying attention, just observing,
Noticing those little signs they give us.
and then responding in the right way.
Being aware, being respectful of the trees we share the world with.
Exactly. It reminds me of this quote by Herman Hesse. He said, "Trees are sanctuaries. Whoever knows how to speak to them, whoever knows how to listen to them, can learn the truth."
Wow, that's beautiful. It really speaks to that idea of trees having this deep wisdom to share if we just take the time to listen.
That's it. So the next time you're walking by a tree, don't just glance at it. Stop, look at it,
Yeah.
appreciate it being there.
Yeah.
Listen to the leaves rustling, feel the bark, and try to imagine all the stories it could tell.
Such a good reminder. I think we rush through life so much that we forget to appreciate those things.
It's true. And sometimes all it takes is a little change in perspective, to really see the beauty and wonder that's right there in front of us.
So well said. I think that's the perfect way to wrap things up today. Go out there, have a conversation with your trees, listen to their stories, respect their needs, and if you're ever unsure about anything, don't hesitate to call an arborist.
They're the true tree whisperers. They can guide us.
Exactly. So until next time, happy tree gazing, everyone.